Hi again, everyone. It's Natalie here. So I know I said that I wasn't going to do a tarot reading for this week, but then I was like, well, but what about, I don't know. I kind of just feel like it's a nice thing to, it can be really nice, right? To have a little something for the week. And a deck that I have that I've never said anything about, but have been carrying around and playing with now for about 10 months. No, maybe not, maybe 9 months, something like that, is this one. Okay, and it's here inside of this lovely little pouch that I made for it. That is, so it's red linen, and I wanted to get all five color, all, yeah, one, two, three, four, yeah, five color families into the making of it with the predominantly blue. Ta-da! But it's made from some, I did some indigo dyeing a while back. Anyway, it's the Buddha Tarot. And so Robert, I knew last year in September that Robert in Place was going to be bringing back the Buddha Tarot at some point with Schiffer. That's just been announced finally. I keep checking and checking and checking, and finally it was announced. And I keep it in this blue silk cloth that I probably had for 20 years or more. But yeah, it's one of the first edition decks, or one of the most recently published versions of the deck. And it is hard. You can assume safely that most of the, once you know what the suits are, you can safely assume what they are and what they mean and so forth as we know them, because it is Robert in Place. There we go. Okay, that's better. Sorry, the camera got like really bright. But yeah, if you don't know a huge amount about Buddhist cosmology, it's like, and there's hardly any book, right? The original deck was just published with this. And while there is quite a bit of information crammed in, it's still kind of, you just kind of want, more, really. More than just that. So I've been working with it and like making my own notes and so forth. And yeah, what can you do? So, but I'm very excited about the new deck coming out, or the new version of it. I don't know if he's done a huge amount of adaptation. His art style has changed so much, but we'll find out. At any rate, I wanted to use the week ahead spread, the weekly forecast spread that I use every week with the SKT. I've been doing the 22 weeks, the 22 weeks with the SKT. It's brilliant, by the way. If anyone's ever had an inkling towards wanting to do that because you got the SKT and you're like, well, I so recommend it. At any rate, yeah. So card 1 is what spirit will be most present this week. Card 2, what is in my highest interest to make this week's priority? And then card 3, what do I need to be mindful of and prepare for? I love it. I've been using it as a way of focusing each of my weeks, and it really helps. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle. These shuffle like a dream, by the way. Here, I'll show you. Here we go. I usually only do it 3 times, but you can see like the cardstock is great and it's very slippy and silky, so it overhands really beautifully as well. Okay, so, and I usually do my little thing where I breathe, so go ahead and pull this back up and for my breathing that I do. Okay. So what spirit will be most present with us this week? Okay, so, whoa, look at that, the 3 of Jewels. That's beautiful. So the jewels in this deck correspond with the yellow or Ratna family, as we can see, but they're pentacles, right? So again, What spirit will be most present with us this week? It will be the Three of Pentacles or the Three of Jewels. So keeping in mind there's some little adaptations that come along with this because it's jewels. So the jewel that we're seeing here is like the wish-fulfilling jewel. The Ratna family is always about generosity. Okay, so it's like there's a spirit of generosity or a spirit of, collaboration. I think the greatest way to approach collaboration or collaborative opportunities and situations is with generosity. And I speak from that place as a former actor and director. So when I would work with teams of co-collaborators, the way that we would work together was always through, yes and, to say yes. What is your idea? Yes, that's great. And I also see this happening. So there's some acceptance that's coming forth with this, and the ability to create, to really create what we want, what we desire, and what we need, and have those wishes fulfilled. Okay, so card 2, what is in my highest interest to make this week's priority? Of course, these are going to be down in the box, okay. So this week, it's in our best interest. Whoa. Wow, the Vajra Dakini. Now I'm gonna have to look this one up because I'm struggling to remember. That's pretty awesome. Well, I'll tell you what I know about Vajra Dakini. So the Dakini of Vajras, the Vajras are the swords. Okay, so Vajra Dakini I think she's the knight. I think she's the Knight of Swords. Yeah. So the Vajra family is blue, and their whole thing is about awakening. Well, they're transforming anger and aggression into mirror-like wisdom. So it's the ability to take any kind of aggression or anything else that we have that's unhelpful, and to find a way to transform that energy into something that's useful. To be able to have mirror-like wisdom is to have tremendous clarity, right? Clarity of mind, clarity of insight. So that is our highest priority for this week. And I still want to read the card. I still want to read the info. Let's see. I mean, I can read these the way that I know them, but it's also helpful just to see the way that he was interpreting. So... Oh. So I'm off just a little bit. It's not, so Vajra Dakini is not the knight, she is the page. So she's a messenger. She's a messenger, and her message is that we have got to make it a priority to see things with great clarity. Clarity, wisdom, insight, pause. If you're having a moment of anger, or a moment where you're wanting to judge or, fly into or go, kind of go into a place where you're not maybe acting from a place of wisdom or clarity, right? Because we're fogged up by reactivity or a difficult emotion or a heavy bias that's affecting our ability to see things from multiple perspectives, or at least from our perspective and the perspective of someone else. We gotta pause and find a way to transform that. So what he says here is, he says in Tantric Buddhism, Dakinis are dancing goddesses. Their name is derived from the Sanskrit word for space. Yeah, their name in Tibetan, Khandroma, means skywalker. The space that the Dakini dances in with such freedom and abandon is the mind. Each Dakini is representation of an aspect of a Buddha manifesting in the world through our minds. They are like the anima mundi of Western alchemy. kind of. Yes. And, right? Yes. And, right? Okay, so what else does he say? Vajradakini is the manifestation of Akshobhya. So Akshobhya is the medicine Buddha. Because Akshobhya, let's see, she holds his Vajra in her right hand. Because Akshobhya favors wrathful manifestations, she is sometimes shown holding a skull cup or standing on a corpse. Normally she's that way, actually. He's cleaned these up and made them very palatable for Westerners, you see. Let's see. She is the manifestation of wisdom in one's psyche. She is a good idea or clear, she is a good idea or clear, unobstructed thinking. So there's not much here that I hadn't already said, but yeah, it's nice to have that verified, right? We're operating from a similar knowledge base there. Okay, so that is what is in our highest priority to make this week. All right, so then what do we need to be prepared and mindful of, right? Mindful of and prepare for, okay? So this particular one has been really good. Like, okay, I've got to be aware this week, like this week mine was 7 of Cups, which in this SKT is the corruptor. So like, don't get distracted. Don't, said like getting distracted by a little bit of rash that's broken on my thumb. You know, it's like be mindful of like, don't be pulled off course. Don't be pulled off track, right? So what do we need, you know, this week to be mindful and prepare for? Ooh, that's so funny. We need to be prepared for the Buddha's birthday. So that's interesting for the Parinirvana. So that's 22. It's an extra card in this deck. The Parinirvana was basically the physical death of the Shakyamuni Buddha. We could say like after attaining the world, you know, he ascended, kind of in a very Christian sort of way. This one would be good to read the interpretation for first. Interestingly, when we celebrate the Buddha's birthday, right? So when we celebrate Sagadawa, as it says on my calendar here in front of me, Buddha Shakyamuni attained enlightenment and parinirvana. Okay, so you can see him emanating and leaving his physical body. That's his normally the way he's shown that way. So we need to be mindful. I'm going to say this is like being aware. Little drink there. Being aware of our the fact that we're all going to die, right? Make the most of the way that we live now. Let's see what he says. He says the parinirvana is the death of the human Buddha and his total attainment of nirvana. Parinirvana is the ultimate reward. It is the trust that when something comes to an end, there is a new beginning, a rebirth, and that when all rebirths come to an end, there is eternal life. Its most basic meaning is a move up or the receipt of a reward. It tells us that we are more than our limits, to relax and to be our better self. So I'm going to say that probably, you know, for some of us, all of, you know, any of those possibilities could be there. So it could be that, you know, to be aware that we are being rewarded for something, right? To be mindful of and prepared for a reward of some kind, literally. It could be, you know, having faith in our Buddha nature, like remember that you are good. Remember that you are inherently good on a primordial level. You know, you are created from great bliss. That is who you are. That's reflected in a lot of teachings in the world, not just these. Let's see. What else does he say here? Yeah, blah, 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 move up, receipt of a reward. Yeah, we're more than our limits. So even as we go, if there's something that happens this week that's limiting, for some of us, that may happen, right? So even though Manjushri appears, right, was our mode divination for the week, right? That's not going to be true for everybody universally, right? So the message here would be to remember, I think, here and here, regardless of what's happening in your life, on a fundamental level, remember that this is not all that you are. The mistake, the error, the difficulty, being berated by a boss, being berated or bullied by someone at work or in your family, being told that you're less than, feeling as though you might be less than because there's a habitual thing running in your mind. Like I have that. I'll admit that, readily. There's something inherently wrong with us, right? Remember, that's not all that you are. That's not all that any of us is, actually. So that is something to be aware of as we move forward this week. So just to recap and itch some allergens out of my eye. Whew. The spirit most present with us this week is one of collaboration. It's the Three of Jewels or the Three of Pentacles. So, creativity, collaboration, the ability to have what you need and then make use of it and make more from it. The interest, what's in my highest interest to make this week's priority is wisdom, right? To act from a place of wisdom. To remember that sometimes wisdom can feel a bit wrathful, but it's also the wisdom that comes from transforming your anger into something useful, which happens if you can calm the body and calm the nervous system. And then finally, regardless of what we face this week, with Parinirvana, we are that, right? We are more than what we are limited by, right? In our thinking, we are more than that. Yeah. And that, that if the Buddha was able to achieve Parinirvana in one lifetime, he's exceptional, but that, his one lifetime was not all that he is either. The Buddha is emanating in multiple human beings and multiple bodhisattvas in multiple ways and forms all the time. We don't understand everything, right? There's so much in the world that we don't know and we don't understand yet. So, yeah, as we move into this beautiful week ahead, those are the things to keep with us, right? Don't be limited. Another way to see this would be don't be limited by your limiting thoughts and ideas. That's probably a good one. So, collaborate, take a deep breath when you feel pissy, and you're not just those pissy thoughts. Okay. That's the down-to-earth version of it, okay? All right, everybody. Tons and tons of love to you, and I will be back again with more. Take care. Bye.